I think one of the oldest debates when it comes to Thanksgiving is the dressing or stuffing and what recipe is best to use. Do you stuff the bird? Do you put it in the oven? It is all such a mess in some families, and thankfully this year, I have something to solve all your problems. It is a super easy crock-pot dressing or stuffing if you'd rather call it that. And it is so simple and so delicious. And what's wonderful is it frees up your oven space. You can have it going on the counter during the day, and it is ready right when you want it to be. There are a lot of debate on what dressing is or what stuffing is. Obviously, stuffing is something that actually gets stuffed inside of the bird on that day. And while I think that is a great idea, sometimes it's a little bit more work than it's worth, and you have to be very careful about making sure that the bird and the stuffing is well done and none of the bacteria is inside of that stuffing. Dressing, on the other hand, can be a little bit more moist than a lot of stuffings can be and almost have a souffle-like quality. And I think it's a lot easier to work with and really almost more delicious. To start, I use about 10 cups of half-inch pieced bread. And I just like to buy the loaves on my own and chop this on my own. I do not like to buy the pre-stuffing mix that you can buy in the supermarkets. The bread is usually not a good quality and it's not dried in the right way. I like to use a good challah loaf if I can find one, and a little bit more structured French loaf with a little bit more of a crust on it. I just slice those up into about half-inch pieces. And put them in the oven on 2 baking sheets. It is really best to stale your bread in the oven and not on the counter. If you do it on the counter, just the outsides will become really hard, but the inside never fully will, so it won't soak up all the liquid like you want it to. An oven fully dries out your bread. Place it into your low temperature oven and let it go until it's fully dried. If you're worried about them drying unevenly, you can of course flip them between or in the middle of the time. This will help them dry maybe a little bit more evenly. Then set it on the counter and let it cool off until you move on. You don't want to do it when it's warm, or again it won't soak up the moisture like you want it to. In a separate bowl, you want to get ready your aromatics and really what's going to flavor this, and that is some chopped celery and of course chopped onion. It's the perfect thing to put in this dressing. I just chop that, set it aside so it's ready to go. In a saute pan, I let some butter melt and kind of let it start to bubble, and then I add my celery and my onion and let it saute just until it becomes translucent and a little softened. During the middle of the sauteing, you can add some minced garlic. I just like to use my garlic press and press it right into the pan. Stir that around until everything is combined and translucent, and then take it off the heat and let it cool down a little bit. In a separate bowl, you can place your cooled dried bread, and on top of that, all your fresh herbs. I love to use fresh herbs for this. If you don't, you can use the dry herbs. They work just as well. We just have some different amounts that we'll use. I like to use my fresh sage, a little bit of parsley, some rosemary and thyme, and just put it right into the bowl. Along with that, some pecans and some dried cranberries. I think all these flavors together and a little bit of sweetness from the dried cranberries are the perfect combination. On top of that, you can place your slightly cooled onion and celery and garlic mixture along with that butter. And then to finish this off, a beaten egg and your chicken broth. It's best to use a good quality chicken broth or one that you've made yourself. Or if you want to keep it vegetarian, you can of course use a good vegetable broth. And then stir that all together just to combine it. Of course, you need to add a little salt and pepper. The soupiness or the wetness that you want to make your dressing can be kind of hard, but you want to make sure that it's rather wet. And of course, I think I've come up with the perfect combination. After you've stirred it a little bit, let it sit just for a few minutes to absorb the moisture and see if you need to add a little bit more. And then put it right into your crock pot. You set it on high, and then 4 hours later, it has souffled slightly and is ready for serving. Place it into your favorite serving dish, and it will look like the best homemade dressing you've ever had. I think this is going to become your favorite and quickest go-to crock-pot dressing recipe. Don't worry, no one will know you used a crock-pot because it will taste like it was in your turkey for hours in the oven. It will be our little secret. Thanks for watching this video. To see more videos that you might enjoy, click over here, or click down here and subscribe to our channel to see all the great new videos we come out with each week. Can't wait to see you again.